Okay, what we're going to do here is we're going to use an exploit client side. So this is client side attacks. So on the client's not just going to sit there and let us attack it. We have to get the client to come to us. Remember, when you do a lure or a bait, typically we send an email and say click here, or on a web page have click here, you won something, or a pop-up. We've all seen those types of things. So what we're going to do here is we're going to use the actual exploit from Internet Explorer version 8. So there's the exploit. So now what we want to do is set up an actual reverse shell. So it comes back to us. So here's our reverse shell. This means we got to set our L host so it knows to connect back to the backtrack machine. Then we do show options. And there you go. There's your different options of different things you have. Listen address, listen port, and those types of things. So everything looks pretty good. So now the URI is actually going to be randomly generated. So if we do exploit, there's our URI. So what we want to do is just copy this, although that's pretty easy to remember, FEOR. So we'll copy it. And now this is where you would send this into an actual victim. So what you would do here is you would try to connect to that server. Port 8080, because that's where we got the listener at. And then we paste our random string. And now we hit enter. And the user's sitting there, which typically happens to users all the time, and then they're waiting for their web page. We've done that before. So what's happening here is, if we go back and we look at Kali Linux, it's actually sending HTML. So the actual exploit is in process, but it sometimes will crash the server. So let's see if we get a crashed actual send message where we have to actually paste it again. So if it closes the program, we say don't send, and we try it again. And remember, a client's going to sit here and continue to try to view the page that we're viewing, because they want to go there. They want to win. You told them something really cool or something they wanted to know, or they're going to win a prize, and they're going to keep trying. Clients or users are always going to click. So this is to our advantage. In an exploitation, this use after free is usually pretty reliable, but remember, none of them are 100%. So what happens is we continue to wait for the client to actually be able to exploit Internet Explorer. So we go back here, once again, we're trying, so it continues to try to exploit the actual box. And now we got, again, a don't send. Usually it takes 4 or 5 tries to get the actual box to fall over. That's exploitation. Unfortunately, in exploitation, nothing's 100%. So we continue this FEOR. Remember, that user really wants to win, so we're going to keep trying. We use that to our advantage in the hacking world. Or we send them another one if they get a little bit wiser and get them to try to go there. And we're continuing to send, so we've got a few here. We haven't got it yet. And eventually, hopefully, we'll find a return address. And remember, this is the latest version of XP. It also works against Windows 7 and other operating systems. So the actual way the hack works is it attacks the operating system because it knows there's going to be Internet Explorer running on most Microsoft Windows systems. So that's what we're doing here. We're actually attacking Internet Explorer version 8. It's a relatively new Internet Explorer. And it's the use after free exploit. And we try. Sometimes it's just a bad exploit day. Still trying to go through. And this is the process. We just follow this process until hopefully the box falls over, we give up, move on. But this is what client-side hacking is all about. We can make it a little bit easier if we give them an actual hack to double click like we did with Netcat and stuff like that, but it's not as realistic as somebody going to Internet Explorer, clicking on a link in Internet Explorer, the browser, having the vulnerability that gets exploited. And we continue to send traffic, but we don't get the shell. So hopefully it will fall over here. And we're still sitting there waiting for our shell. So it takes a long time sometimes, but you see, we actually now have an interpreter session opened on the box. So now what we can do is pretty much anything we want. If I press enter, all right, successfully migrated the process. So if I do sessions, list, there's my session. So if I want to interact with it, I do a -I and a 1. And now I'm there, and I can do a question mark to tell me what to do. Hash dump will dump the password hashes, so I can copy these and then crack the passwords. So pretty much anything I want. The Meterpreter shell is quite an advanced shell. So if we go back over here to the Windows XP box, you see now the user just sitting there wondering, why hasn't my website loaded? Which is typical, that happens. So we go over here and we go into Task Manager. Under Task Manager, now we see the Notepad process is running. But is Notepad open? No. But most users don't even look at their Task Manager anyway. But if they did, they'd see Notepad. That looks like a normal, legitimate process. Well, how did we do that? We did that with the advanced feature in Metasploit called Migrate. So if you look here, when we went through right here, Migrate, we migrated the process to Notepad.exe. So now if the user goes and kills their Internet Explorer, it doesn't matter because it's under Notepad.exe. Okay? So, since it took so long to do it, anybody feel like trying again? Well, let's try again, what the heck. So we will go here and quit. Kill the actual Meterpreter session. Okay, we've got our actual exploit ready to go here. So we will actually see if it will let us bind, which it probably won't. So what we'll do is we'll actually do an exit. And now we'll do an MSF console again. So we'll just try to see if we can get lucky. Maybe we shouldn't try this, but what the heck. Remember, the way you get the client to come to you is, hey, here's some really cool sports results. Here's some really cool information about the latest celebrity, the latest gossip. I mean, I think a really popular one right now would be the royal family expecting a baby. That's probably a real popular one for people to click on links of information. So now what we do is we go back and we try this exploit once again. So we do our edit, we do our copy, and we go in and we do edit, and we do paste. And remember to put use in front of it. Now we're using that exploit. So now we want to do our payload, which is going to be the Meterpreter shell. So now that we've got the payload, paste. So now what we're going to do is set the L host, which is our backtrack machine. Kali Linux, sorry. Still used to calling it backtrack. Well, I guess it is backtrack version 6, as they say. Now we do exploit. Now the exploit's ready to go, and now what we do is we need this URL data. So we're going to copy this URI, and we're going to go back over to our Internet Explorer in our box here and change it from FIA-OR to this random looking string that's now the latest version of the hack. And we'll try to connect to that. So now, as we're waiting, let's see. Oh, I bet that version of the Explorer is hung. Yeah, we probably have to start it again. So let's just copy this so we don't have to worry about that again. And we've mangled Internet Explorer so good we'll use Task Manager to kill it dead. So now we'll end that process. Don't send. So we're sitting here waiting. So everything's good there. And we've got a mangled Internet Explorer process that doesn't want to die. Why? Because we hacked it. We mangled it. But that's what we do. We're hackers. Right? So we end the process. There. Now, let's start the process back up again. So now we start up Internet Explorer again. And now, highlight it, Control V, and we start loading our web page again. So let's see if we're at least talking to Backtrack. And we are talking to Backtrack. There we go, send in HTML. So let's see if we get a little more lucky this time. So it's sitting there, recovered. Try to go back to the page. Don't send. This poor box is having all kinds of fun. Page of reviewing. And there we go. Now we've got the session. So this time it only took third try. 3 tries, now it's successfully migrated the process. Notepad now has the executable code. And remember, this gives us a Meterpreter session. So if we go in here and we hit enter, we have a Meterpreter shell. If we do sessions-L for list, we do sessions-I for interact with number 1, start an interaction, and we do the question mark, and we do a hash dump. And now we got the password files. We just highlight those, copy them, and put them into our favorite password cracking tool like John the Ripper. As you see, very powerful client-side hacking because we know clients are always going to click. This is why the challenge on the security side is egress filtering, because this traffic's allowing this architecture is allowing this traffic out to the rogue server. And this concludes client-side attacks.